this, I saw my friends, my old friends in here. I haven't seen for a long time, and one of them, he knows me from Ethiopia. I saw him when I was a deacon in the Trinity Cathedral, so I'm pleased. Right, the film was beautiful, and which tells me the kind of way that I came from the 3 years old up to now. As you know, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church inspired Ethiopian paintings, Ethiopian architects, Ethiopian writers, and as exhibited in different forms of modes. The church has been a repository of the Ethiopian culture and arts, especially the monasteries and the church were not only the place of ascetic life, but also place of arts, architects, and education. Like, as you saw in the educational system, in the Ethiopian education system, there are different states. There with the Nibab Bet, which is the first one, where the student you saw at the beginning. The Nibab Bet is the house of reading, where everybody reads the basic alphabet and masters the basic background, and then after that he transfers into Nibab, special Nibab, which is taken from the epistle of St John. Gavata Hawaret, we call it. And then he tried to master that by reading it by different states like Nabab, Urdu Nabab, and Gaze. Then after he masters that, he goes to depth reading into Psalms. Psalms are the basic Ethiopian educational system and also prayer system. In the Psalm, he has to do a lot of work in there at night and day. When he passed that, he goes into the Zemabet. The Zemabet is, he saw the teacher was teaching the students how to sing the song of St Yared. And then he studies, the Zemabet also is divided into many, because the basic is called Uddase Mariam Zema, which is the prayers of St. Mary's in singing. Then the Mestagabe, from the Psalm of David, and then it goes up to Dugwa. The Dugwa is the main Zema of Ethiopia, which is produced by St Yared in the 6th century. And then he goes to Edashe. Edashe is the liturgical teaching of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. In the Edashe, there are different states. Especially the Ethiopian Edashe is special from the Oriental Orthodox Church. Very special, even from the Egyptian. The Egyptians are our fathers in the beginning. They taught us for 16th century, for 1600 years, but we have our own system before that. In fact, Ethiopian Christianity traces its back to the 1st century, 30 days after the Pentecostals. There was an Ethiopian eunuch who came to Jerusalem. If you see in the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 8, verse 26, he was baptized by St. Philip's, and he was taught the Old Testament as well as the New Testament briefly by St. Philip's. And then he took that faith to Ethiopia because he was a high treasurer of the queens and the kingdom. The first people they have been converted were the palace people, the kings and the queens. So the kingdom of Ethiopia, especially the top, the head of the Ethiopian kingdom, has become Christians. Then Christianity was perpetuated until the 3rd century. Around the 3rd and the 5th century, especially the 5th century, has seen a development of Christianity and literature and writing in Ethiopia. Why? Because of the coming of the 9th sense. There were these 9th sense who were persecuted in the Roman Empire. They had to flee Ethiopia as a refugee. So Ethiopia was receiving a lot of refugees in the beginning. Not only a refugee in here, but we were accepting refugees in Ethiopia as well. So these refugees were highly educated. Why are they refugees? Because there is this controversy, Christological controversy, between the Catholic and the Orthodox. And the other side, monotheism on the other side, diaphotism on the other side. The diaphotic, we call the Catholic diaphotites. They call us monophysite, which is wrong actually. We are not diaphoticite. But they were persecuted and they came to Ethiopia. And these people were highly educated in Hebrew, in many languages. And they were accepted by the king of Ethiopia. And they were given areas of teaching the gospel, and most of them were in the north, like Abuna Aragawi in the Debre Damo. There were 9 of them. Abba Antalewan in Aksum, Abba Litanos is about 25 miles away from Aksum. Then Abayin Ata in Garalda. All these 9 cents were distributed, but they have been teaching a very good they established educational system and monasticism. Not only they were teaching spirituality, but also teaching arts as well as literature, and different kind of knowledge was spreading throughout Ethiopia. One of the students is St Yared. One of these students is St Yared. Like you saw that students were studying that music. St Yared was born in Aksum in around 505 AD, and then he went under this 9th sense to study. At the beginning, he was really very stupid. He couldn't even study the alphabet for 7 years, and he was very disappointed. He has to be told, go and do his farming. And while he was going back to the farm, he sat down in a small tree and he saw an insect trying to get up into the tree. It failed 7 times, but at the 7th time, he climbed up the tree. Then he asked himself, what? This small insect has been trying many, many times. But me, I gave up and tried to go back to my farm. I have to go back and try again. And he went back to the school and he begged them to accept him. His uncle Gideon was the head of that church and he accepted him. But then he was inspired by something. He was trying to write composition music, and he was becoming a very good reader, a very good commentator, a very good writers, and there was something miraculous happening in there. He started his music by citing the Old Testament. Adami Hales Eon, Samaye Sarara. Adami Hales Eon, Samaye Sarara. Meaning, at the beginning, God has created the earth and the sky. And then Zion. And then he showed Moses how to lead his people. And then he established human being. And he was composing a lot of, then everybody was really watching him. And he was really producing this music constantly. His music was as sweeter than the sweetest bud. It was beautiful. And then he became the master of Aksum. There was this king called Gabra Meskel at that time. King Gabra Meskel was attracted by his music. He didn't even know. He was throwing his arrow into his feet of Yared. And if you see the picture of Yared, it's already painted his feet was pierced with Gabriel spear. This is, but he didn't feel it. So Yared has become not only a musician, but he became a prolific writer. He wrote Dubois, Sommer Dubois, the Mariam Wasit, as well as a lot of maraf and different kind of composition. So this is how Zema came into Ethiopia. And the notation, I brought a book to show you, probably later on you will see. This is a book I studied with Equander. I was given by my family. It came from ancestors, an old book. So this is the book called Samarugwa, which is taken from the Lugwa, and it's a musical book. It's got a notation in here. The notation was started before the European has even dreamed about it. So before Mozart, and this 7th century phenomena was really amazing, and even the Europeans were amazed by this music. So Yared has contributed a lot to Ethiopian Christianity and development. Like you've been looking at the film earlier, this was done from the goat or ships, and they have to produce it as music and write it with a different kind of writing method, read, and you will see it later on anyway. So Ethiopia, the Ethiopian monastery, or the Ethiopian are not only, the monasteries are not only a place of ascetic life, but also a place of literature, arts, and architecture. The major contribution, like you saw, of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church was that different kind of civilization, like art, music, education, culture, philosophy, and even medicine. Even medicine. If you see in the, I used to do some kind of work in the British Museum of the Ge'ez book, and I went through one book, which is a book of medicine and a book of secrets. And one of the things which amazed me was that how to write a secret letters from one king to another without being checked. What they did was they took this planting and they put a lemon, they squeeze lemon on the glass, and they write it to dear friends so and so and so. An enemy is coming to hit me, please help me. And then they send it with a messenger. It looks like a plane, but when you take it into that other person, he put it in a fire a little bit, and it became a writing, proper writing. So this was a secret written in the 6th century. And that amazed me. This was amazing. But in that book, if you saw it, there are a lot of other amazing medical books in that book. So even medicine has been contributed in that, in the monastery, in the Ethiopian monastery. Of course, the Ethiopian Orthodox has also produced a lot of artists like St Yared himself and many others, and even 20th century artists have got an influence from the Ethiopian Orthodox, like Johannes Afor, and had Gabriel Jesus, and a lot of their writers. A lot of okay, right. Okay, all right. So a lot of writers have been inspired by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, not only at the moment, I mean, until around the 20th, 21st century, education was really mostly manipulated or dominated by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. But recently, it's a modern education is a recent phenomenon. But we, the other thing which I have to mention with the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is the philosophy, the philosophical aspect, especially the Kene. The Kene is one of the most philosophical literature that I've ever seen. I've studied.
Questions, because those of questions come.
All right, okay. So I think basically what I want to say is Ethiopian Orthodox was a center of arts, music, literature, and religion. I think I better answer from question. So thank you.
Thank you.
Reverend. I know we could hear a lot more, and it's fascinating, but I know, as Mackonen said, we have a few more, we expect some more interaction, so you get a chance to explain more. But I still would like to hear a quick reaction from our another panelist here.
Well, I love the film. Having been to Lalibela and been inside those churches and heard everything is symbolic. Everything has a story inside those churches. There is it's rich with story. I am born here, so I'm a learner. And what's beautiful about this is that it gives me a sense of pride and a sense that I want to know more. It gives me a lot of questions, and I think that a film of this kind should do that. But it gives me questions, but it also gives me great pride as well.
Yeah, what did you think of all those kids, brought together from a very early age, to do, memorizing skills? And,
what did I think of all those kids brought together from a very early age to memorize? Well, that happens in the in all faiths. If you can give young people the gift of spirituality, story, history, knowledge of self, place, time, then you're giving them a gift from God.
Absolutely, and it also seems to prepare them for conventional school, as one of the interviews said.
It prepares them for church.
He found it very easy to learn the rest of, the conventional Western education. But I would, have a bit more to say, and then we'll hear from the audience as well.
I think everybody should see this film. I think, all of the young Ethiopians should see this film. All the Ethiopians should see this film.
Before we go to question, thank you very much, brother, because you like this film. This film mainly for, I may say that people like you, people who are born here, they might be Ethiopians, or they might not be, may not have the detailed understanding of the culture of Ethiopia and the philosophical concept. And one thing really makes me sure, which I will continue doing this thing, is you still have questions. Questions in a way. The pride is still there, but I'll try to show what is there. How I like to do a documentary, not talking heads. No, I'm not such. I like space, people. Let's the nature talks and the people and the scenery. And that's the thing. The question there is, it is an introductory. There is no way you can combine all these things, what our father in short time to try to tell us. It is impossible, literally. But what I try to do is now, this is an introduction. There is some music culture, educational culture, the philosophy, the thinking, the medical aspect. So that should need a thorough research and a collaboration and a work. So, yeah, that's the big one. So I'm happy that you like it.
I love the investigation into Ge'ez and how this was almost like a rallying call to bring it to the forefront. But that doesn't need to be against development of new language.
No,
Does that make sense?
language, language is important. You should learn every day. Everyday communication. Now we are in a very digital age. So many things are going very fast. Lots of things I don't know, my children know. They try to show me that is not like that.
Okay.
It's fast, but the past is also very important. Who are you without the past? Who are you? What can you say about your past? That's the motive for me. I mean, we should embrace, celebrate, promote. Give me some English words.
Embrace, celebrate, and promote. That's great. That's almost like a pub
So let's do it. So this is the thing.
Embrace, celebrate, promote.
Exactly. So yeah. So this is what we really want to do in Tima in the future.
Yes, Makonnen says definitely. Sorry. Who said it? Man without knowledge. History and past is like a tree without roots. So yes, absolutely, we'll agree that.
And fruits as well.
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, you didn't say fruits. It would be a tree without fruits, wouldn't it?
Oh,
I thought that.
Absolutely, yes. I know Father has a couple of things to add, but I wanted, before we open up the debate, I wanted a quick reaction from Makonnen. Did you face any challenges in getting this filming done in the monasteries? I was curious about whether you had any difficulties in accessing all the priests and getting them to interview you, for them to let you in. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
curious about that.
That's there's no way you can get in there without a permission, of course. Not only a permission from the authorities. Sometimes without permission, you might not allow it. For some reason, I'm allowed to film. To get a permission, then go different places, and this is very sacred place.
So how did you go about it? How did you get those permissions?
Well, I have a permission. I have collaborated with SOAS. I have the support, the legal support from UNESCO. I wrote that proposal to the Ethiopian church, the main church. Yeah, of course, I take that and they read it, and I have no any interest except to do this, what you saw. So they said, we trust you.
And one more for the Reverend.
Yeah, I was trying to say the film was really beautiful. I saw it briefly before. That's why I outlined a little bit, you know. But this is the tip of the iceberg. This is only a small part of it. Although beautiful and nicely done and nicely commented, but you need to do a lot, and especially you need to go into details.
That's
Yeah,
the second and the third
yes.
part. Yeah, that's what
Yes,
I'm
I wish. I will. I hope you will do that, and I hope you will get
Pray
support.
for me.
As far as the permission for the monastery is concerned, they were really concerned. Most of the monasteries have been concerned because a lot of books have been stolen and sold in Europe. And in the past, a lot of, well, this is my own. I studied with it, so it's my family. So no, it's not. And I brought you the permission. I have got a church in here, so don't worry about it. Okay. But let me tell you, in the past, thousands and thousands of books have been destroyed by foreigners. For example, Ethiopia has, probably you raised it in the question, Ethiopia has a darkest coin age. In the 16th century, in 1605, there was this Grime, the left hand. He destroyed a lot of the books and the arts, the church and the monasteries in Ethiopia. And this is one of, I am not saying that Islam versus Christianity in Ethiopia is bad. In fact, they live in harmony. But this one is a radical, equivalent to current ISIS. It's horrible. He destroyed a lot of our church, a lot of our books, a lot of our heritage. Yeah. Also Yodif in the 9th century, a lot of our things have been destroyed. So the monastery are really worried to let foreigners without any permission, without knowing who it is, so that they may not lose their really beautiful books or beautiful paintings.
One more. I was very curious about a comment you made in the German library about how the German scholar thought that Ethiopian Christianity is the truest Christianity.
Yeah, let me, before further, one of this, the Goethe Institute, I filmed it in Germany, because Germans, my second country, Britain, I'm not saying that didn't really preserve Ethiopian manuscripts and stuff. I didn't say that because this is my home, second home. But the Germans, for some reason, are really fascinated in Goethe's, the way they kept the archives and all that. And the Ludolf specific history is very fascinating. He learned Ge'ez before he wrote the book. He learned Ge'ez, he met this wandering Ethiopian monk in Rome. Then they become friends. It's a very unusual encounter. Then they become friends. He learned Ge'ez. Then he starts study about the religious, the Christianity about Ethiopia, and he believes, according to the research which I did, he believes that the relative purity of Ethiopian Christianity can bring something in his research and writing work. So that was his basic starting point for Ludolf's work. So that fascinated me, and I went to Goethe, and I filmed that and interviewed the professors there, and that's it. So about the other story, Father will tell you.
Is there substance to that?
Yes,
vision?
yes. It is not only Uludro, but there were other Germans who were fascinated by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the faith, and they say it is a true religion because the way they apply it. And it is not. If you see in the monastic life, they're serious about their faith. You see the nuns in the picture. They leave everything, worldly possession, everything. They have. Some of them are from the children of very rich families, but they devote themselves to Christianity and they pray day and night. So it is an authentic Christianity because of several reasons. First, we are the first Christian even in the world. Christianity was accepted in Ethiopia 30 days after the Pentecost, meaning 30 days after the crucifixion of Christ, almost in the beginning of the century. So we have been perpetuating that culture, that apostolic culture, that Christianity up to now, without any mixture. No one has mixed anything into it. So that's why the Germans are saying this is the truth.
Other than the African element, of course, as you explained,
yes,
that there is some degree of syncretism
yes,
to the African.
Yes, also, I mean, I have read a lot of writing in the West that Africa has been Christianity has brought to Africa by some people. That fascinates me a little bit. That is not true. But Ethiopia has been connecting with Africans as well. For example, South Africa, doing the scramble for Africa. When the Italians were invading Abyssinia, Ethiopia, when we beat them out, all the Africans were trying to learn the Ethiopian Orthodox Church as well as Christianity because they knew that the church was one of the power to fight against colonialism. So that's why the relation between African and the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and Ethiopia has started in the early 17th and 16th century because of beating a lot of outsiders, colonials. That's why.
Absolutely. In terms of religion and theology, of course, it goes way before that.
Way before that.
Obviously, Ethiopia is located in the African continent. Well, I think it's time to open up to a few questions from the audience. I'm sure there's some. Yes, let's start off there. And if you wish, you can direct it to any of the panelists or make a general comment.
Thank you. Wonderful film. You get the impression that the monasticism is very much alive in Ethiopia now. Is that so? And can you say why? Because it's rather struggling in the West, and it would be interesting to know how it all happens.
Yeah, well, very good. Thank you for liking the film. It's similar to what Father said, that this keeping the culture, the tradition, the Christianity which begins then, a century and a half ago and before. So nothing is much changed in terms of spiritual practices, still there. And the faith on the people also is nothing changed. It's amazing. It's a journey for me when I do this documentary. I was born in Addis Ababa. I never traveled anywhere. This is the first time when I do this documentary and travel to the northern part of Ethiopia, all these monasteries, and talking all these nuns, young nuns and monks, and it's just mind-blowing. The dedication they have. And it just, when they explain to you about my question, when I asked them that, why off camera? For example, I did lots of edits because about 17 hours rushes that I filmed. And from that, I tried to make this 45-minute documentary. I was mesmerized. Whatever you say, I don't know. It's amazing. I asked them, young nuns, why don't you go to the town? Why you are living here in such a situation? Why? And they laugh and they say that, no, you are coming here when you are invited as such by the divine. So that seems to me the main thing, that the belief, the faith on the people is unbreakable. It's unbreakable. That's the fundamental thing, I think.
Yeah. To add to Michael's comment, the reason the monastics survive are many. First, the sincerity of the monastic life itself. I mean, a lot of people are free inside there. We think material life is important for us. And we think because we have thousands, millions of pounds in our pocket is pleasurable. It's not. But in there, they have got a spiritual life. The spirituality in that monastics are magnificent, and people are really happy to be in there. I was worried myself. I came to this country in 1975 as a young 16 years old deacon. I was worried this monastery might be diminished, but to the contrary, they're growing, especially the writing, even the writing in the skin writing and so on, the word writing is still going on in the monasteries. I visited last year about 20 monasteries in the north, and still they're doing very well, especially where I studied in Gondar as well, in the where you went. If you saw some of them, they were writing, they were painting.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They were painting.
They prepare parchment. Still,
yes.
That trend is still there. Parchment preparation. They're making their own ink and for painting purposes. All these traditional things still there.
Yeah. I think they do it for heavenly reward, not for the earthly reward. So they're very happy to be in there and to devote themselves to God, and they're still perpetuating. The monasteries are growing, although, to be honest, in some areas, because of their land has been taken, by the dam, has been taken sometimes, and they are really mostly poor, very, very poor than they used to be, because they haven't got the land to cultivate, and they always live at the mercy of the villagers.
They still struggle, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I see they live the lowest life, no support. As you see, the nuns, they're making this little staff and they sell that. And some people, they're just tourists or the local people give them some support as well. there is a little agricultural land. They cultivate that just for their own daily survival. Other than that, it is not in a very good position, honestly speaking. Unless some kind of strong measure has going to be taken, is very, very, especially the the traditional schools are, give it a few years, if things are continuing in such a way, it will go away. It's going to go. So that's my main concern is at least there's an archive. We should talk about it. If it goes, it goes. So that's another thing I want to really tell to my audience.
Yeah, just I'd say it was a very excellent documentary. This is a question for the director, and I've got a quick question for the Reverend as well. You covered a wide pantheon of different things that's taking place in Ethiopia. You said that it's a work in progress. I wanted to ask you about funding. Have you got funding prepared to carry on the journey? Because this was like a taster, like an hors d'oeuvre. We need to get some of the main course, It's such a rich history. So have you got plans for funding? And the question I have for the record is about, we saw on there about the rich tapestry and artwork, etc. And even we saw what's in Germany, the books. Is the Ethiopian Orthodox Church happy that Europe has, like British Museum and these places, have these treasures, or do Ethiopia want to claim them back to be in Ethiopia where they originate from? So,
Good question. It's true that this is just a start, no doubt. I say that at the beginning. Even to do this, it took all my time, my financial situation. I work very, very hard on lots of odd jobs to support this documentary. Well, not to mention I had a little support from Ethiopian Airlines with some free tickets and stuff to take my equipment, and a little support from UNESCO. And the Ethiopian government also support the logistics and free access to film everywhere. But to do the next main documentary film, part 1 and part 2, that needs, well, the research is done already, and we continue to do that, and it's a hell of a job. I mean, we have to travel place to places, thousands of miles. At the moment, there's no any sign of funding, but I'm still working and talking to people and negotiating as a team, also production company, they come and work with me. But at the beginning, that's the stage I am. Yeah.
So he wants to. Okay. Does the Ethiopian Orthodox once claimed those books, those artifacts in Europe? Yes. We have been, I don't know, we've been writing in the Guardians a lot of the times. We've been asking the British Museum to return most of the books which are in the Indian. We have also 12 tablets, which is the Ark of the Covenant, in the British Museum. It's just like wearing my grandfather's clothes.
Yes.
It doesn't fit the British at all. Yeah. It should go to Ethiopia. They should return it back. We did ask them several times, but the way they reply is that, well, it's a precedence. If we return the Ethiopian books, we have to return the Greeks, we have to return the Persian, we have to return the Indian. So we don't want to create precedence, so we don't want to give it. That's their answer. But still we are fighting. You can support us on that. Especially there are some group of people who are involved on this, including myself, Richard Pancras, and also the Ethio-British group. Yes, Anglo-Ethiopian group. So we can join us and ask them and learn them. Yes, yes, I know. I know. Yes. So we are asking for the British Museum to return at least the thing they don't want.
Prince Michael, the son of Theodros, is buried 20 miles away from here. He's stolen from Ethiopia. He's within almost within living memory. It's not in living memory, but it's the late 1800s that he was buried there. There is a prince of Theodros, probably the most famous king, or the most beloved king, with all due respect, I don't mean that, but he's buried 20 miles away from here. He was stolen from Ethiopia, and he's not even buried inside Windsor Castle, he's buried outside of it. If we get young people, young Ethiopians, behind getting the bones of one of the kings that was taken by Queen Victoria back to Ethiopia, there is a very strong moral argument for that, given that this is a country that loves its royalty. And there are lots of people who've been doing lots of under-the-radar work in this area. But there comes a point where there needs to be a kind of populist movement to make that subject, you know, go above the diplomatic line that's been drawn that keeps him buried under the earth. There. That's what needs to happen, and you could have then attached that pyramid-like to the tablets, to the Queen's clothing that's in the British Museum, and you have a symbol that would carry all of these other things. I was on Radio 4, I made a documentary, I made various documentaries on getting Prince Michael, or making people aware of it in England, and there is a certain amount of traction, and then it hits the diplomatic non-language, which results in really offensive answers, like the one that we've been given, that you've been given, which is, well, if we do it for you, will everybody else? There is no logic to that. That should be a no. We shouldn't even think about that.
You see how
I think the bones of Prince Michael,
yeah,
of an actual prince who was stolen from his parents, who brought to this country, buried under Queen Victoria. It's not that long ago. It's within living memory of our grandparents. Is a very good symbol which would carry the rest of these things. But it has to be the young people who sort of spark on that. Otherwise, it'll be to and fro, and the gentle.
We should be watching out for your leadership.
I wasn't proposing leadership. What I was proposing was a general seeding of a thought that this could symbolise something that would relate directly to the royal structure of this country, therefore sort of causing a certain empathy, a certain guilt, and a very strong a campaign symbol.
I mean leadership in creating that awareness.
Yeah, you have to be careful with words like leadership in whichever.
It's good, you see, the subject of my film is getting wider and wider and wider. So the funding is going to be again wider. So another subject is going up.
We have only 5 minutes left for this room, for you in this room, so let's have a quick question over
Thank you
there.
very much. Thank that film. It was just wonderful to see all those places again. My question is really about the education. You showed pictures of the boys from the country. You mentioned just now about the question about the future of education. So I was wondering your impressions of how it's adapting. I mean, I know Gonda quite well, and I was recently at the school at Kusquam, and there it's recently been reopened, and there were the boys of the country. But I was also amazed to see the teacher, I met Memher Daniel, he'd also got the students from medical school coming up in the evenings and studying with the young children. He even got houses for women as well as men, and I've never seen women and men in a traditional school studying together.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a common experience or unique, or what you think about the capacity of traditional education to work with modern education, really for the benefit of the culture of Ethiopia, which can be both traditional, with the best of tradition and best of modern. Do you think that's a dream or a reality?
Is that a question for me or for...
Whoever, both of you.
Well, the fact that the boys and girls are sitting together doing this traditional school is amazing. It's new trend. Never happened before, as far as I'm concerned. I did, as a child in Addis, I learned this estimate, they call it, as a little boy. And only boys doing that. And if this is now a new trend that bringing higher education students also showing interest to do this, and there is a continuity there. There is something really we should embrace again, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that some of the bishops have tried combine both, especially the late Abu Yohannes Tigray has built a lot of schools. One of the examples in Mekelle Abba Salama, school that traditional on the one side, on the other side is for the modern education. And both are going together, and they are graduating from both cultures of education. And also in Addis, the theology college itself has got such thing. And in some areas also they are open in Gondar as well. I saw that. In Tigray, in many areas are doing it. In Harar, I saw they are doing it. So it is not widespread, but if it's been done, it can be done. It can be done. I have done both. I was graduated as a Duka teacher, like that person, like Mahmoud Alam, that Alam, Minta Alam.
Yes,
yes, that was my qualification, my experience as well. But because I saw the future that I cannot be rewarded orderly, so I have to study this modern education, and I had to come here. But still I'm the church. But I'm still supporting the church in many ways. So what is the, well, I think it can be done. There must be a lot of theology college as well as modern education together. They can be developed. If we can get the funding.
I want to mention before, as my interest, the future of this film, the continuity is still there. This is as a starter, my brother say that, and the main course and the dessert will continue as long as we work together and team up. But this film also is a good introduction, a little bit information for who don't know about Ethiopian stuff. All Ethiopian fathers and mothers here, about September, ምን ሀሳብ አለኝ ልጆቻችን ልጆች አሏችሁ, we have to show them. I will arrange a place, Irish Center, probably here, if I know the place as well. እነሱን ደግሞ ማሳየት አለብን. You understand what I mean? Because you got a little bit information out there. Because that's how you learn a little bit identity about the past. About is it Ethiopia or is it like that? It's lots of information. My daughter, she's very happy. My son is amazed when he saw this landscapes. He's much more interested when I'm driving here by God. She loves driving, so that's also another element. So I will inform you. I will keep contact. You'll do something to your children as well. That's what I'm saying.
Very good. One last question.
Thank you so much. What I want to say is, a few weeks ago, looking at the Honest Ethiopian Tension, books started appearing, which really gives you a shock. And I didn't know who you understand. Does anybody do anything about it?
On eBay?
Yes. This beautiful red book that it looks like this.
Did you all hear that? Can I say what you were saying? You were saying that there were lots of ancient Ethiopian texts, manuscripts.
And they were advertising for $4,000
advertised $4,000 on eBay that came up recently.
And something has to be done. At least these are safe in the library, but these other ones are floating around. We don't know where they are. Something should be done or something. How to get these people, at least to follow it and see who's selling it.
Any journalists in the room? That's a great article. It really is.
There should be some places where you can report it to people who are hurt like this, and then you can follow it up. We have some countries who have this trace. Even some might not be authentic, I don't know.
But these Ethiopian texts that should not be out of Ethiopia, they've not been bought, they've been stolen from
How do we know?
Okay.
That's the problem. Something to disaster.
And with that rather somber note, we shall come to the end of our event. I would like to very much thank Father George, first of all. Please clap for Michael Mackonnen, the director of the film. Thank you. And Lemn Sisay I'm sure we shall look forward to seeing the next film on Mackonen or another event.